Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seen, Begun, and Through with Monty. Right before you, do you recognize this smiling face? Well, he's been a staple among TV for a 25-year period. Does this look more familiar there? Yes, that's Bailiff. Pete Hawkins Bird. He was the bailiff to the Judge Judy show. And he has a couple of things to say. But before I go on as to what he is saying, I want you to look at this here.
That's the rule. Judy Justice is a really exciting new adventure that gives me an opportunity to come into streaming while producing a whole different kind of court show. Try to begin with the truth. That's always the easiest thing to begin with. I've been sort of alone for the last 25 years. Now I have a new team. My law clerk happens to be my granddaughter.
A law clerk does whatever the judge asks them to do.
Sarah is wired like I am. She's a little snarky. I like that. And then there's Whitney. She's a fabulous stenographer.
I'm able to read back the record for her, and she can utilize that to go back and verify things.
And my bailiff, Kevin, is one of the warmest people.
My role is to pass information back and forth from the plaintiff and defendants to the judge and keep order in the court.
Keep in mind,
No, I don't have to keep anything in mind.
Well,
You just have to keep in mind answering my question. To have them help me create this new show is really giving me a third act or
Okay, so as you've seen there, Judge Judy is coming out with a new show called Judy Justice. And longtime bailiff Bird, who was with her for 25 years from the very beginning, was not asked to join. Now, Bird is speaking out about his absence from the new Judy Justice show. And I want you to go below the picture because pretty much this sums up everything. And he's a little bitter, a little salty, but I want you to read with me. It says, the call with Judy ended pleasantly enough. He added, I don't think she understood how confused and dismayed I was after being there for 25 years. From the beginning of her career and not being at least given the opportunity to say whether or not I wanted to continue that relationship. Now, let me say this much. The nerve of him. The nerve of Bird Hawkins. And I say that because Judge Judy, he was a bailiff at her courtroom in New York City. I believe it was, I want to say child custody, something to that nature. And as she was starting the Judge Judy show 25 years ago, she asked him along. Now, he was with her for a 25-year period. And keep in mind, for 25 years, he was the highest paid bailiff in the United States of America. At his peak, he was making $250,000 a year. Now, he is behaving like he was entitled to something, which he was not. It's a new show, new season. She wants to move on with something different. She has a whole new crew behind her, a whole new cast with her, and I don't blame her. I mean, you want new blood there. So I do not like his entitlement complex. And we as black people, sometimes we can get carried away with this entitlement complex. Remember, I did a video on the sexiest man alive. And there were some black people who were boo-hooing hooing because we were not included into the sexiest man alive. Despite being the fact that there was a couple of times where they did name Denzel Washington and Artis Alba. And remember this lady right here. She just minded her own business. She was named the best butt in America. And black people had something to say about this here. Now, she was chosen by white manufacturers to model their jeans. This is their figure, the type of butt in which they like. Okay, that's all good and dandy. We can get our own. Why even protest that? Why even have anything to say about that? This is where I think that we fall short sometimes as black people. We think that we are entitled to certain things in life when we're not. When we should just go out there and do for ourselves and not look for others to do for us. Then maybe we would not get our feelings hurt. Now, Pete Hawkins, you were on the show for 25 years, the highest paid bailiff in America. You couldn't start your own production company? You couldn't get your own film company? You couldn't start a reality show? You're a little salty because Judge Judy, who picked you up from the courtroom in New York City and added you to her show for 25 years. Why even say what you're saying? What makes you think that, you were entitled, like you're acting like you were joined at the hip, or you were her spouse or a family member? No, you were not. You were a bailiff to her. 25 years, I couldn't imagine me being bitter, salty to the point where I'm going to take it to the media and even argue about that or have something to say. Because quite frankly, I'm going to have my own shit together after that. I would have been planning, to be honest with you, 7 years into the show, 10 years into the show, 15 years into the show. I've been there for 25 years and you have something to say? You felt like you were not offered a job? You were not offered an opportunity? Man, the nerve of you. Seriously, that's going way too far. Way too far. This is a grown-ass man. After given an opportunity, it's just mind-boggling to me. For 25 years, he has something to bitch and gripe about, to complain about. It shows really how ungrateful he is. Then let it go, seriously. Go on with your life. If you didn't plan, you didn't develop, you didn't create something after that, who do you have to blame but yourself? Judge Judy doesn't owe you a damn thing. And people, let that be a lesson for you. Let it be a lesson. Plan ahead of time. Develop, create, produce. And do not depend on others to do